हेलो एंड वेलकम टू एग्ज़ाम वैट। जैसा कि आप सभी को पता होगा कि सी यू ई टी पी जी और यू जी एग्ज़ामिनेशंस के डेट्स अनाउंस किए जा चुके हैं और ये एग्ज़ामिनेशंस शेड्यूल्ड हैं जून और जुलाई में। तो आप सभी की प्रिपरेशंस को बकल अप करने के लिए, पेसअप करने के लिए मैं हर्ष आज एग्ज़ाम वैट चैनल पे आपके लिए लेकर आया हूँ ज्योग्राफी से रिलेटेड एक इम्पॉर्टेंट टॉपिक जिसको कि कहते हैं रिवर सिस्टम्स ऑफ इंडिया। सो इस वीडियो को स्टार्ट करने के पहले मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि आप चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें और वो जो बेल आइकन है आप उसे प्लीज़ प्रेस करें, जिससे कि हमारे चैनल पे जो भी इंफॉर्मेटिव वीडियोस पोस्ट होने वाले हैं उसके बारे में आपको सबसे पहले नोटिफिकेशन मिल जाए। तो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद दिस वीडियो। सो माय नेम इज़ हर्ष एंड आई एम अ ज्योग्राफी टीचर एट एजू एग्जाम वैट. I have done my masters in geography and I have also qualified NET examinations. Okay, so let's start with the lesson now. So talking about rivers. So river क्या है? So river body of water that follows a specific pattern, a specific channel, defined channel, that is a river. So river अलॉन्ग विथ ट्रिब्यूटरीज जो एक एरिया को ड्रेन कर रही है, जिस एरिया से फ्लो कर रही है उसे ड्रेनेज बेसिन कहते हैं। एक रिवर, एक बॉडी ऑफ रिवर जो कि एक स्पेसिफिक एरिया से फ्लो कर रही है उसे रिवर कहते हैं, रिवर बेसिन कहते हैं। ओके और आपने अक्सर सुना होगा कि रिवर के साथ एसोसिएटेड होता है टर्म रिवर बेसिन, वाटरशेड और कैचमेंट एरिया। तो इन तीनों टर्म्स का बेसिकली ये मतलब है कि आपको कैसे उन एरिया को डेजिग्नेट किया जा सके। सो व्हेन आई से वाटरशेड और ड्रेनेज बेसिन और कैचमेंट एरिया, आई एम बेसिकली रेफरिंग टू द एरिया ऑफ लैंड विच अ रिवर हैज़ फ्लोन थ्रू। ओके, तो अगर मैं इलाहाबाद पे खड़ा होता हूँ और मैं कहता हूँ कि गंगा रिवर का कैचमेंट एरिया क्या है, तो गंगा की जितनी भी ट्रिब्यूटरीज हैं और गंगा का जो मेन कोर्स है जो कि इलाहाबाद से वेस्ट में है, ओके, उत्तर प्रदेश उत्तराखंड का एरिया, वो सभी आपका रिवर गंगा का कैचमेंट एरिया कहलाएगा। वो एरिया जहाँ से रिवर सारे अपना वाटर कलेक्ट कर रही है, जिन एरिया का वाटर फ्लो करके इस रिवर में जा रहा है, वो एरिया कहलाएगा कैचमेंट एरिया। सो अब कैचमेंट एरिया और रिवर, तो दो रिवर बेसिन को एक बॉडी ऑफ एलिवेटेड पोर्शन ऑफ लैंड सेपरेट करता है और उस एलिवेटेड पोर्शन ऑफ लैंड को हम कहते हैं वाटर डिवाइड। सो वाटर डिवाइड इज एन एरिया ऑफ एलिवेटेड लैंड दैट सेपरेट्स टू ड्रेनेज बेसिन। कि अगर यहाँ पे ये एक एरिया है तो यहाँ पे कुछ स्ट्रीम्स फ्लो कर रही हैं और यहाँ पे कुछ स्ट्रीम्स फ्लो कर रही हैं, लेकिन इसके बीच में एक एलिवेटेड लैंड है जो कि इस साइड का रिवर्स को इधर की तरफ फ्लो करने के लिए कह रहा है, इधर के रिवर्स को इस साइड फ्लो कर रही हैं। तो ये जो एलिवेटेड पोर्शन ऑफ लैंड है इसे वाटर डिवाइड कहते हैं, एज यू कैन सी इन दिस डायग्राम ऑल्सो। सो दिस इज वाटर डिवाइड और ड्रेनेज डिवाइड, द रिच पोर्शन, एलिवेटेड पोर्शन ऑफ लैंड, ओके, विच इज सेपरेटिंग दिस ड्रेनेज बेसिन फ्रॉम एनी अदर ड्रेनेज बेसिन। सो इट इज़ कॉल्ड वाटर डिवाइड। जैसे अगर आप इंडिया की बात करते हैं तो इंडिया में एक एलिवेटेड रिच पोर्शन है जिसमें अरावली रेंजेस से शुरू होता है, फिर विंध्या रेंजेस और इधर वेस्टर्न घाट्स। तो ये इंडिया का मेन कैचमेंट डिवाइड है अगर आप इसे इंडिया मानते हैं तो। सो दैट इज़ द वाटर डिवाइड ऑफ इंडिया। ओके, सो दैट वाज अबाउट वाटर डिवाइड। सो the Aravalis, Vindhyas and Western Ghat, they form a continuous range of mountains which is the great water divide of India. और रिवर्स का सिग्निफिकेंस है क्योंकि रिवर्स आर कंसिडर्ड एज अ सोर्स ऑफ सिविलाइजेशन। व्हाट डज दैट मीन? दैट मीन्स कि रिवर आर गिवर ऑफ लाइफ। ओके, सेटलमेंट्स, द अर्लीस्ट सेटलमेंट्स दैट डेवलप started developing around river basin. Okay, so if we look at the oldest settlements like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro in India, they all sprang up near Indus River. And if we see in Egypt, so Nile River was the giver of life there. And if we see in Central Asia or Arabian Gulf, so Mesopotamia civilization developed around the river. So river is considered as the giver of life. And it is because of this reason that river is considered as a source of civilization. Okay, so when I talk about rivers of India, they are basically divided into two categories, although there are some distinctions, but the primary are Himalayan and peninsular river. So now what is the criteria of dividing Himalayan and peninsular rivers? So any river which is originating from Himalayan region, okay, that would be considered as Himalayan river, and any river which is originating from peninsular region, that would be considered as peninsular region. But there are some anomalies. What does these anomalies are? The cases of Chambal, Sindh, Betwa, they all originate from Vindhyan Plateau or central India region, but they all join Yamuna and Ganga further. So what should they be considered? Indus river is part of Himalayan river system or peninsular river system. There is always some distinction, but in general or in total we consider them as part of Ganga river system, so they would be considered as part of Himalayan river system. Okay, so the two important river systems of India are Himalayan river system and peninsular river system. Now the river systems of India are also divided into two categories based on the direction of their flow. So most of the rivers in India, the biggest rivers, they flow in Bay of Bengal, whereas some rivers, okay, they drain their water in Arabian Sea. So they are called east flowing rivers, those which drain their water in Bay of Bengal, and the other which drain Arabian Sea are called west flowing rivers. So significant east flowing rivers would be Ganga, Brahmaputra, Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri. These all are great, all are the largest river in the country, and they flow through central parts of the country which are heavily populated. So these all have built deltas in their coastal region. They have built deltas, whereas the west flowing rivers are very small rivers. They do not form delta, okay, and they are ephemeral also. I'll tell you what ephemeral is, but just give me a second. So Sabarmati, Mahi, Narmada, Tapi, Mandvi, Zuari, Periyar. Sabarmati, Mahi, Narmada in Gujarat, Tapti also in Gujarat, Mandvi, Zuari in Goa and Maharashtra, and Periyar in Kerala. These all are west flowing rivers. They drain their water into Arabian Sea. Now what happens is Himalayan rivers receive their water from glaciers as well as river. So because of glacial melt in summer, they have constant flow of water. The water in these rivers is perennial, okay, it flows throughout the year. But in the peninsular rivers, the source of water is basically from spring, or they rain fed. So it is because of that reason that they go dry. Their channels shrink during summer season, and they do not carry water all year around. So they are called ephemeral rivers. So Sabarmati, Mahi, Narmada, Tapi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri, they all have an ephemeral nature. The larger river like Godavari do not maintain ephemeral nature throughout the course, but some stretches of their course gets completely dry. So like the course tributaries of Godavari, Tungabhadra and Perna, tributaries of Krishna, Tungabhadra and Prerna, they all go dry, okay, during the in the Raichur Doab area. So let me show you a map. Himalayan, so you see in this map, this is the water divide. So these are Vindhyan mountains, and then from here it would be Western Ghats. So this acts as a great water divide, okay. This acts as a great water divide, and all the rivers here are east flowing rivers, okay. They drain in Bay of Bengal, whereas all the rivers this side, they are west flowing rivers. Indus river is the only significant river which drains in Arabian Sea, okay. Otherwise these all are very small rivers. Narmada, Tapti, Mahi, Sabarmati, Luni. Luni is an ephemeral river, and Luni river does not reach a sea also, okay. So this is the great water divide of India, and yeah, done. So this is the water divide, and all the rivers this side, they flow in Bay of Bengal, and all the rivers in the west side, they drain into Arabian Sea, okay. So I have told you about Himalayan river system. So see, these are Himalayan mountain ranges. Okay, wait a second. So this is Himalayan mountain ranges. Okay, so Himalaya goes through this portion of the country, and all the rivers which originate in this region, they are glacier fed rivers. Okay, and in the plains area, when they enter, they are fed by rains during monsoon season. So they maintain a uniform course all throughout the year, whereas these rivers, they originate from springs or lakes on the western ghats, so they do not have water throughout the year. So talking about Himalayan rivers in specific, they originate from high peaks. These peaks are snow clad, so they have water all around the year. Also they flow through rugged mountains. Okay, they flow through rugged Himalaya mountains, so they may cut out gorges. They are antecedent river, they cut out gorges. Then they enter plains where they deposit the sediments which they have eroded in the mountainous course. So they form significant landforms like alluvial cones, alluvial fan. Then they, in the plain course where the elevation significantly reduces or slope of the land reduces, there they will create meanders, oxbow lakes, flood plains by depositing the sediments. And thereafter, when they reach near the sea, they create deltas. So they create large deltas, and you know that Ganga Brahmaputra delta is one of the largest delta in the country. It is situated in this part of the country, and it is one of the largest delta in the world. This is known as Sundarban deltas, and it is also famous for Royal Bengal tigers, which are found in this region. Okay, so Himalayan river systems. So Himalayan rivers drain the states of, in India they drain the state of Jammu Kashmir. Then here we have Ladakh also now. So Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh, then Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, Yamuna river, Delhi, then Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Sikkim, Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh. So these are all the states I have mentioned in the PPT. So these are all the states where Himalayan rivers flow. Okay, and so number of rivers originate from these the mountains, but they are clubbed into three main categories. So all the rivers which are join the Indus River are part of Indus River system. So Indus, along with its tributaries, is the westernmost river system of the country. Then in the central part we have Ganga river system. These rivers originate in the Uttarakhand region, Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh region. And then in Brahmaputra river system we have in Arunachal Pradesh we have Brahmaputra river system. So these are all the rivers which originate from Himalayan mountain system. Now I'll today touch one of the topics, that would be your Indus river system. So let me start Indus river system. So Indus river system is, I do have map. Okay, it is on this slide. So look at the map of Indus river system. So Indus river is this one. It originates from Tibet, and then it flows through the northernmost part of country, flowing through Leh region, and then it goes through Gilgit. In Pakistan it emerges out of the mountains, and then here, traversing through the entire course, it meets Arabian Sea. Okay, so it forms a small delta here near the Arabian Sea coast. So here is the city of Karachi at this place, and here Indus river has formed a delta. So this is about Indus river system. So Indus river originates from a glacier near Bokharchu. So this is a place which is very close to Mansarovar Lake in Tibet. Okay, situated at an altitude of 4,164 meter. So this is on the west side of Kailash mountain range, and the glacier is known as Bokharshu. The latitudinal location is 31 degree 15 minutes north and 81 degree 40 minutes east longitude. You know what? If you enter these coordinates on your Google Maps, you will get the location, and you can see on Google Map using the Earth view, you can see Bokharchu glacier or the Mansarovar area. That would be interesting. It will create curiosity in you to know more about the area. You will find more connected to the topic. Okay, so Indus river originates from Bokharchu glacier on the near the Mansarovar lake on Kailash mountain ranges, and then it flows westward. So it originates here and then it flows northwestward in Tibet, okay, and here is India. So it enters India in the Ladakh region, okay. You might have heard about this place, Demchok. It was in news last year because India China had a conflict at this place. So Demchok is the first village in the country where Indus River enters, okay. In Tibet it is known as Singhi Khamban. Singhi Khamban means lion's mouth. So in Tibet, Indus River is known as Singhi Khamban. You might be aware that in Tibetan culture there is very much influence of dragons and lions. So in Tibet, Indus River is considered as being a mountain lion. So it is called Singhi Khamban there. It has one of the largest basin area. It is one of the largest river of the world and has a basin area of 11,65,000 square kilometers. Okay, but in India, since it flows only through the state of Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh, it has a base catchment area of just 3,21,000 square kilometers. Okay, its total length is 2,880 kilometers from glacier through India, then Pakistan and Arabian Sea. So here its entire course, the length is 2,880 kilometers, but in India this portion, okay, it is just 1,114 kilometers. Okay, it flows through Tibet, India and then through Pakistan. So it covers 3 countries. Okay, in India, when it enters, it flows between Karakoram and Ladakh range. So let me draw it for you. Let me just erase it. Okay, so in India, when Indus River enters, so I suppose you can see this, you can understand that. So I am trying to draw a map of the country, northern part, state of Jammu Kashmir. Okay, so this is Indus River. It originates from here and it flows like this. So in India, this portion is Karakoram range and this portion is Ladakh range, okay, because it cuts Ladakh here. Okay, so it flows very close to Karakoram and Ladakh ranges, okay, and it cuts a deep gorge in the Ladakh range. So that is a very deep gorge and it is very picturesque, very beautiful. So it flows between Karakoram and Ladakh range and cuts a deep gorge at Dumti in Leh. In Dumti, Leh, it cuts a deep gorge and thereafter it flows between Karakoram ranges, between Ladakh and Jaskar ranges. So this is Jaskar range and this is Ladakh range. So first it flows between Karakoram and Ladakh and then between Janskar and Ladakh. So remember that, like, these are the ranges: Karakoram, Ladakh and then Zanskar. Okay, so these are all the ranges through between which the Indus River flows. Then in India it flows through Leh region only, then it goes to Kargil region, Baltistan region, and then it enters Kashmir. It enters Pakistan through north of Kashmir, and in Pakistan it emerges out of the mountains at Attock. Attock is a place where Indus enters plains, okay, and thereafter it meets to sea near Karachi, where it forms a large delta. So now talking about the tributaries of the river. So the Indus River has numerous tributaries, although many of the tributaries in Ladakh region do not carry much water because of scant rainfall. Okay, those rivers do not carry much rainfall and they are dry rivers. Okay, and they join through both the sides, the eastern sides and the western side, the left bank and the right bank. So the important right bank tributaries of Indus River would be Shayok, Gilgit, Hunza, Shigar, Swat, Kunar, Kabul, Kurran, Gomal, Zob. Okay, so these are all the important right bank tributaries. Right bank means this side. So this is Indus River and all the rivers which are joining Indus from this side. these are all right bank tributaries of Indus River. So you can see on the map also for location of where these rivers join. So this is Shyok River, one of the largest tributaries of Indus River in Ladakh region. This is Shyok River, then this is Gilgit River. So these rivers join in Indus River on the right side, okay, and these are the tributaries of Indus in Pakistan. So Kabul River, this flows through Kabul city in Afghanistan. Swat, it flows to Chitral Dras region. Then these are all the rivers which originate from Suleiman ranges. So this is Suleiman mountain, it is situated here. So this is Suleiman mountains, okay, and these all rivers, they originate from Suleiman mountains and they flow to join Indus River in their eastern parts. So this are all the right bank tributaries of Indus rivers. So let me tell you, these are all not very big rivers, okay, but when we talk about left bank tributaries of the river, you will see that there will be a great number of tributaries with very huge volume of water in them, okay, and it is these rivers that helped Indus to maintain a regular course. So when I say left bank tributaries, so those will be Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Satluj, Byas, okay. These are all big rivers and primary tributaries of Indus River, and they together are called Panjnad. Panjnad is a Hindi term, Punjabi term. So Panj means 5 and Nad means river. So Panjnad, they together make 5 rivers of Punjab. So Punjab's name is derived from these rivers only. The 5 confluence of 5 rivers give the name to the state Punjab. Okay. And in the state of Leh Ladakh, Zanskar, Suru and Swan, these rivers join through left side. Pangong Lake, you might have heard because it was in recently in news because of India-China controversy relating to border issues. So Pangong Lake is also situated near the Zanskar River in Leh Ladakh. Okay, so this was all about the tributaries, in brief, about the tributaries of Indus rivers, the left bank tributaries and the right bank tributaries. Okay, so Zanskar River joins Indus River at Leh. So here is the city of Leh, okay, where Indus River is joined by Zanskar River, and Shigar River. So Shigar River joins Zanskar at Skardu. Skardu is situated in this part, okay, and this is Gilgit River. So these are all the important cities which are in where the main rivers join Indus River. Okay, Indus River receives Panjnad, these 5 rivers at Mithankot. So this Mithankot is a place, remember that, because in examinations you will ask questions like where does Indus receives Panjnad? So it receives Panjnad near Mithankot in Pakistan. Okay, and important cities like Attock, Leh and Mohenjo-daro. Mohenjo-daro you might have heard in history. Okay, it is an important Indus Basin civilization city and one of the largest of its time, which and it gives us number of archaeological evidences to confirm that there was a thriving civilization at that time living in Mohenjo-daro. So Mohenjo-daro is also situated on the banks of Indus River here. So this was all about Indus River. Now let's talk about its tributaries, which give its characteristics to the river. So we will be discussing in detail about the 5 major tributaries which flow through India, because it is these tributaries that examiner will ask questions to you about. क्योंकि एग्जाम में आपको पाकिस्तान में कौन से रिवर इंडस रिवर को ज्वाइन कर रही है इसके बारे में नहीं पूछेंगे. सो यू विल बी आस्क्ड कि इंडिया में कौन कौन से रिवर्स हैं जो इंडस रिवर की ट्रिब्यूटरीज हैं, बिकॉज दिस इज पार्ट ऑफ इंडियन ज्योग्राफी. सो वी विल बी डिस्कसिंग द मेजर रिवर्स विच ज्वाइन इंडस रिवर. So let's start with the northernmost river. Remember this map. So the northernmost major river which joins Indus River. So that is Jhelum. So this is Jhelum River. Jhelum originates from a spring near Verinag. So there is a place called Verinag where there is a spring, lake है जहाँ से Jhelum River originate करता है. Then Jhelum flows northward. पहले north flow करता है, then इट गोज थ्रू वैली ऑफ कश्मीर और उधर से फिर साउथ फ्लो करके चेनाब को ज्वाइन करता है। तो झेलम ओरिजिनेट्स फ्रॉम अ स्प्रिंग नियर वेरीनाग फुट हिल ऑफ पिर पांजल। तो यहाँ पे पिर पांजल रेंजेस हैं जहाँ पे झेलम रिवर ओरिजिनेट हो रहा है। छोटी रिवर है, इट्स लेंथ इज जस्ट 813 किलोमीटर्स समवेयर अराउंड ताप्ती रिवर। ओके, सो ताप्ती एंड झेलम हैव equal length, around approximately equal length. It flows through Valley of Kashmir and the picturesque Vuller Lake. So Vuller Lake in Kashmir is situated on Jhelum River only. So the local base level, like Kashmir Valley is a big valley. Okay, Kashmir बहुत बड़ी वैली है, तो जो लोकल सरफेस है वो बहुत फ्लैट है और उसकी वजह से पानी वहाँ इकट्ठा होता है एंड इट इज़ बिकॉज ऑफ दिस रीज़न कि बहुत बड़ा लेक वुल्लर लेक वहाँ पे फॉर्म हुआ है. इट इज़ you might be knowing it is one of the largest freshwater lake in the country. So Vuller Lake is situated on Jhelum River itself. Its largest tributary is Kishan Ganga. It is on previous slide. So here you see Kishan Ganga River. So Kishan Ganga River is the largest tributary of Jhelum River. Now Jhelum River does not join Indus River. It joins Chenab. It joins Chenab near Jhang in Pakistan. Okay. Jhang is a place in Pakistan here where Jhelum River joins Chenab. So it finally merges into Chenab River and thereafter they are called Chenab River. There is no Jhelum River after it. So Jhelum is a tributary of Chenab River. Okay. Next, Chenab River. So Chenab origins from two rivers. Those are called Chandra and Bhaga. So Chandra or Bhaga. JNU में एक हॉस्टल भी है चंद्र भागा. Chandra and Bhaga, they originate from two rivers which meet at Tandi near Kelong. तो जब चंद्र और भागा रिवर टांडी है एक जगह केलोंग में, वहाँ पे मीट करती हैं तो फिर चेनाब रिवर कहलाती हैं. उसके पहले तक वो चंद्र और भागा दोनों डिफरेंट रिवर्स हैं. जैसे गंगा रिवर है, देवप्रयाग के ऊपर भागीरथी और अलकनंदा है, लेकिन भागीरथी और अलकनंदा जब देवप्रयाग में मिलती हैं उसके बाद गंगा कहलाती है. लाइकवाइज टांडी के अगर आप ऊपर जा रहे हैं, नॉर्थ जा रहे हैं, तो इट इज़ टू डिफरेंट रिवर्स, चंद्र एंड भागा, और उसके बाद टांडी के नीचे जब दोनों रिवर मिल जाते हैं तो उसको कहते हैं चेनाब रिवर. सो इट इज़ वन ऑफ द लार्जेस्ट ट्रिब्यूटरी ऑफ इंडस रिवर सिस्टम. ओके, इट्स टोटल लेंथ इज़ 1180 किलोमीटर्स एंड इट फ्लोज फ्रॉम बारालछा पास. ये इंपॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि एग्जामिनेशंस में आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछता है कि विच रिवर फ्लोज क्लोज टू Baralacha Pass. So you can answer it is Chenab River that flows closer to Baralacha Pass. Baralacha Pass is an important pass because it connects two very extreme places, Lahul and Spiti, with Leh. So it is the only pass through which motor vehicles can pass, and it provides year-round connectivity between Leh and Manali. Yeah, Manali, Lahul and Spiti. So Baralacha Pass is an important pass and it flows, the Chenab River flows through Baralacha Pass. Thereafter it joins Ravi River. So Chenab River joined Ravi River in Pakistan. Okay, so it is called, thereafter it will be called Ravi River. So Jhelum meets Chenab meets Ravi. Fine. Ravi River originates from Dhauladhar mountains. Okay, it originates in Chamba district of Himachal Pradesh. It flows very close to Rohtang Pass. Rohtang Pass is also a very important pass. So if you start moving from Manali to Leh, firstly you will go through Rohtang Pass and then you will go through Baralacha Pass. Okay, so these two are important passes. So from here Chenab flows and from here Ravi rivers originates. Okay, Rohtang Pass. It is a small river, its total length is just 720 kilometers and it joins Chenab River near Sarai Sindhu in Pakistan. Okay, Sarai Sindhu in Pakistan. So Chenab River joined by Ravi River in Sarai Sindhu in Pakistan, and the important city of Harappa is located on the bank of Ravi River. Okay, Harappa as well as Lahore. Lahore is also located on the banks of Ravi River. So if you see in this map, so this is Jhelum River, this is Chenab River, and this is Ravi here. This is Ravi River. It is joining Chenab near Sarai Sindhu in Pakistan. Okay, next Chenab, Ravi, Byas. Byas river originates from a Kund lake. It is called Byas Kund Lake. It is very close to Manali and also Rohtang Pass. Okay, so Byas river originates from Byas Kund Lake, small lake, glacier fed, and it has a length of just 462 kilometers before it joins Satluj river, and most of its course is in Himachal Pradesh itself, 256 kilometers in Himachal Pradesh. It flows through Kullu district, and it cuts Dhauladhar ranges and form gorges at Kati and Largi. So in Kullu district, it forms gorges. What is gorge? Gorge is basically when there is mountain and river has cut through it. Okay, so it is a very narrow and deep valley, that is called gorge. जब रिवर एक पहाड़ क्रॉस कर रही होती है, ओके, और क्रॉस करते टाइम वो पहाड़ को बीच से कट करती है और एक बहुत ही नैरो और ऊंची वैली बनाती है, तो उसे हम गॉर्ज बोलते हैं. सो काती और लारगी इन कुल्लू डिस्ट्रिक्ट, इन दोनों जगह पर ब्यास रिवर जो है वो गॉर्ज फॉर्म करती है. द फेमस सिटी ऑफ मनाली सिचुएटेड ऑन द बैंक्स ऑफ ब्यास रिवर एंड इट मीट्स सतलज नियर हरिकेदुन इन पंजाब. सो सतलज रिवर से ब्यास रिवर ज्वाइन करती है इन हरिके. ओके, लास्ट रिवर, important last river of Indus. So the tributary is called Satluj River. It is one of the longest tributary. It originates from Rakas Lake near Mansarovar. The lake is very close to Mansarovar Lake in Tibet. Okay, so basically this is, if you see this as Kailash mountains, so there are three important rivers originating from this place: Satluj, and then Indus, and from here Brahmaputra. Okay, so these three big rivers are originating from these Kailash ranges, very close to Mount Mansarovar lake. So all the three rivers, they originate from this area only. So Satluj river is also known as Lanchen Khambab in Tibet. Okay, it is a Tibetan term. Satluj river is also known as Lanchen Khambab in Tibet. It is a Tibetan term. Okay, and it enters India near Shipkila Pass. So Shipkila Pass is an important pass. It is one of the three border outposts through which India and China trade is conducted. Okay, it is situated in Himachal Pradesh. It is the region. Here Shipkila Pass, near Shipkila Pass, Satluj river enters in India for 400 kilometers. Okay, for 400 kilometers in Tibet, the Indus river and the Satluj river flows parallel to each other, but Satluj river here cuts across great Himalayan ranges and enters India from near, very close to Shipkila Pass. So remember the names of these passes because it can be asked in your examinations. Questions have been asked in the past, so do remember that. And important cities like Shimla, Kullu, Kinnaur, Solan, Mandi and Bilaspur, they are all situated on tributaries of Satluj or on Satluj river system itself. Okay, so this make Satluj, it shows that there is a high population concentration around Satluj river, and one of the largest dam, Bhakra Namgal Dam, is also situated on Satluj river itself, on the borders of Himachal Pradesh and Punjab. Okay, so you have heard about Doab. What are Doab? So Doab is area of land between two rivers. Okay, so it is very fertile land because river has deposited its sediment, silt. Okay, alluvial soil. It has alluvial soil and river has deposited its silt, so it is renewed every year. So it is very fertile soil. So it is called Doab. So Punjab is made up of 5 Doabs. Okay, but 4 of them are in India and 1 of them is in Pakistan. So Doab is a parcel of land between 2 water bodies. Fine. Here is the definition. I have written it for you. Doab is a parcel of land between 2 water bodies, and the 4 significant Doabs which are in India. Although Punjab is made up of 5 Doabs. So this one, Sindh Sagar Doab between Indus and Jhelum, it is not in India. But the 4 Doabs which are in India are between Jhelum and Chenab. Okay, so this one, between Jhelum and Chenab river is your Doab known as Jech. So it borrows 2 terms from Jhelum and 2 from Chenab. So Jech. Likewise, between Ravi and Chenab is Rechna. Between Ravi and Chenab river is this portion called Rechna. So if you between Byas and Ravi river is Bari. So this is Bari. And likewise between Byas and Satluj is Bisht. Okay, so these are important doabs. So if you remember them in sequence from north to south, it would be very easy for you when the questions are asked in examination and you need to answer them. So the northernmost will be Jech, then Rechna, then Bari, then Bisht. So these are all four important doabs of Indus river system which are situated in India. Okay, Sindhu Sagar is in Pakistan and questions are not asked from Sindhu Sagar doab. So there is a treaty regarding sharing of water because Indus river flows through 3 countries. But in Tibetan course, basically its course in Tibet, so none of the population resides here. So we do not have any treaty with Tibet or China. But since it flows through entire length of Pakistan and there is heavy population pressure, likewise it also likewise there is population in this part of the country. So there is a water sharing agreement or water sharing treaty between India and Pakistan regarding sharing of water of Indus river. So that is called Indus Water Treaty. It was signed between India and Pakistan in 1960. So in 1960 there was a treaty signed regarding sharing of water of Indus river, and that is called Indus Water Treaty. Okay, so the rivers which are included in this treaty are Indus along with its 5 tributaries. So the Indus river along with Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Byas and Satluj, these all rivers are included in the Indus Water Treaty. Okay, so what is the treaty about? The treaty is regarding what percentage of water can India hold and what percentage of water will be given to Pakistan. Fine. So the water of 3 rivers, basically Ravi, Satluj and Byas river, okay, eastern rivers, are allocated entirely to India. It means Byas, Satluj and Ravi, these 3 rivers, the water which they carry can be used entirely by India because their main and major portion of their course lies in India. So India can use substantially their water. Fine. So these are called eastern rivers. Remember this term, eastern rivers. Okay, so eastern rivers, water of eastern rivers can be shared, can be kept with India itself, okay, for exclusive use. Means Pakistan will not ask India to share water of these 3 rivers. But the western rivers, Indus, Jhelum and Chenab, these 3 rivers, the water of these rivers were allocated to Pakistan. There is a treaty which says Indus, Jhelum and Chenab. So major portion of their water will be allocated to Pakistan for specified, except for specified non-consumptive and agriculture use permitted to India. Okay, so they can use major chunk of the water of these 3 rivers, but excepting domestic, non-consumptive and agriculture use. It means India can use like they are these rivers, these 3 rivers. If you see these 3 rivers, okay, if you see this map, fine. So these 3 rivers have their course in parts of Kashmir. So there is not a very high population in those regions, like this one and this one. Okay, Indus, Jhelum and Chenab. So what happens is India can use water of these 3 rivers for domestic, agriculture and non-commercial purposes. Okay, for consumption purposes, water of these 3 rivers can be used by India. Indus, Jhelum and Chenab. So this is the Indus Water Treaty of 1960. So in total, India can use just 60% of the water of Indus River system. Okay. So this was all about Indus River system. Okay. What we learnt about Indus River system, that Indus River is one of the longest river of the world. It originates in Tibet region and thereafter it flows through Tibet. It flows westward through Tibet, then enters India, then it goes to Pakistan, Baltistan region, and then it flows south westward and drains in Arabian Sea. Okay, important tributaries of Indus River in India are Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Byas and Satluj, and right bank tributary in India are Gilgit, Sahyok, Hunza, Shigar. These are important tributaries, and this group of rivers, Kundar, Zob, Tochi, Gumal, they originate in Suleiman ranges and join Indus River. Okay, then we talked about 5 important tributaries. Jhelum, it originates from a spring at Verinag in the foothills of Pir Panjal ranges. Then we talked about Chenab. Chenab and Jhelum join each other in Pakistan. Okay, then we talked about Ravi River. Ravi River originates near Rohtang Pass. Then Byas River, it originates from Byas Kund and it joins Satluj River near Harike. Satluj River originates very close to Indus River, just other side of the mountain, known as Kailash Range, very close to Mansarovar Lake. Okay, Satluj River originates from Rakshas Lake and it enters India near Shipkila Pass, and thereafter it flows through the states of Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, and goes to Pakistan, and they all join together here called Panjnath, and at Mithankot, all the 5 rivers, they join Indus River system. So that was all about Indus River system that we learned today. I hope you found the video useful. You can give your suggestion regarding the video in the comment section. You can ask your questions regarding the topic in comment section, and do follow our channel ExamVat on YouTube and follow the channel ExamVat official on Telegram to get PDFs of the classes and to know more about the live classes that the platform is going to conduct for CUET PG examinations. So I hope you found this video useful. Thank you for today's class. We'll see you soon.